Hi guys, Dave here at Humble Trekker channel. How you doing today? Going to be making a long-term review of the giant Belgian Army backpack. I bought this pack 2.5 years ago from thehumbletrekker, the Finnish army surplus store and bushcraft survival store. About almost 2 years ago, I did my first review on it where I went through all the functions and features, and if you want to check that out, that's going to be a card on the screen so you can go back and look at that. Well, I went through basically in great detail all the functions and the features of the pack. Now, having had it for 2.5 years, used it frequently, I've actually got 3 quite major issues with this pack, and there's also got one major positive with it. And I'm going to take you through that, show you what the issues are, and also describe why this is a problem with buying used second-hand gear, especially army surplus gear, online that you can't check it out yourself, so you don't really know what you're getting. At the end of the video, I'm going to dismantle the pack and show you how the frame actually looks, because I've had a couple of requests to show how the actual metal frame is in this pack, so I'm going to completely dismantle it. So if you want to see that, make sure you stick around to the end. Now, the first and the biggest issue I've had with this pack is on the shoulder straps. And when I say the shoulder straps, I mean the strap here that you use to tighten it. So once you've got it on your back, you know what I'm talking about, guys. You pull down on these straps and that cinches it up and brings it up to the back. Now, the problem with this is the following. Because it's a used piece of kit, this buckle, this plastic buckle, and this strap here is worn out. You can't tell by looking at it. It looks okay, but actually as you're walking along with it and you've got it loaded up, it opens up like this. So the end is just sagging off your back. And this doesn't have to take a long time. This can happen in about 5 minutes of walking. So when you're walking along and all of a sudden it's back, you have to cinch it up. The first couple of times this happened, I wondered what was going on. I thought it was just my imagination. But then I kind of like tested it, looked into it, and I realised that it was just coming loose all the time due to the fact, well, my belief is that because the webbing becomes smooth and loses its friction, the buckle becomes smooth and loses its friction too. So the whole idea with these friction buckles is they act by friction. They don't go backwards, but when you put weight in it, there's not enough friction and it comes loose. I've come up with a fix for this inadvertent loosening. First, I tried with a little bit of tape. That had no effect whatsoever. What I've had to do is attach one of these types of buckles, and now after I've cinched up, I then manually push this black buckle up under it, and then that stops the whole set of buckles and webbing coming loose, and that works quite well in terms of functionality. But of course it is a pain in the neck to have to do that, both when you put the pack on and then when you take it off. You have to then use your fingers to pull this down, and it's not too bad in the summer, but when you've got cold numb fingers in the winter, that's a real irritation factor. The second issue, which is another straight up failure, wearing out of the material and the product, the pack, is the zip on the bottom section here. It's basically worn out and it just opens up. I'll show you what I mean. This is no strangeness here. This is, you've all seen it before, the standard wearing out of zips where they no longer mesh together strongly and you can just pull it open. So this zip is very delicate, hardly works at all. My solution for this problem is very simple. I just ignore it, I zip it up, and when it comes undone I don't bother about it, and I use these bottom straps to make sure it's secure, and I just try and make sure I've got no small parts in the bottom of the bag which might fall out. I just keep my coat or whatever it is, something soft that's large in the bottom that's not going to fall out the bottom, and I just deal with it that way. My third and final negative issue with this pack is the waist belt design. It's, even in the best of conditions, it's awkward to use. You have to slip it through like that, and then you pull it, and you can only pull it in one direction, this way, to tighten it up, and you have to basically get it pre-configured get all the straps balanced up before you put it on to get it in a nice comfortable position. And then when it's on, it works securely, it holds itself securely once it's on. But then another issue I found, again from using it in cold conditions, is that this, in cold conditions, when you've got cold numb hands, this belt is an extreme irritation factor, especially if you've got bulky clothes on underneath it. It's probably the worst possible design of a rucksack waist buckle on the planet. So you're probably saying to yourselves, Dave, what are you moaning about? It's a second-hand bag. You knew it was used when you got it. What are you complaining about those things that are worn out? And that belt's not even worn out, it's just the way it's built. I agree with that. Let me say one positive thing before I get into a detailed analysis of why buying second-hand used gear is a dodgy business. And that is, it is a very light bag. For a 100 litre plus bag, it actually weighs empty 3.6 kilograms. And that's fantastic for military gear, which is normally like a little bit on the heavy side. If you compare that 3.6 to other bags, which are 100 litres plus, you'll find out this is one of the lightest bags on the market. Back to the main point, and I am going to dismantle it, so stick around for the dismantling, that's coming up. But this is my point I really want to make here. Yes, this is a cheap bag for 100 litres and the basic quality of it and the functionality. But still, nevertheless, it did cost me $90 from thehumbletrekker. And $90 is $90. Now, if I had saved up, or if anybody had saved up, for $200 you can get an equal quality bag, brand new. You can discuss that down in the comments about my pricing. But let's say around that. For around twice the amount of money and a little bit more, you can get a brand new bag. And that brand new bag is not going to have these irritation factors, especially this on the shoulder straps. Your shoulder straps, that's after your waistband. Those are the two most important load-bearing parts of the pack. And if they're coming loose, if they're working loose, you've got to ask yourself, is it really worth having it? And I've got it, I've used it for 2.5 years. And basically every time I go out of it and I come back, especially if it's heavily loaded up, I'm thinking to myself, oh brother, you've got to get yourself a new pack. I mean, it's really good and everything and you've got it, but why don't you just save up and get yourself a new one? Because I'm trudging through the woods or wherever I'm going and it's coming loose all the time and it's irritating as the proverbial. So that's the question you have to put in your mind. Is it worth being basically penny wise, pound stupid in terms of buying second-hand used gear, which is kind of works, but then it's always irritating you? Or should you just bite the bullet, save up, buy once, cry once? This pack does not so much have a frame, it has two aluminium staves which interlock between the pack and the strap harness by various webbing and plastic loops. So I'm trying to show you how it weaves through here and how it looks on a pack. Now I'm going to put it out. So there's one popper here. You unpop that and then this metal, and I'm pretty certain it's aluminium, it slides out. This is one of the aluminium staves. There's another one exactly the same on the other side of the pack. I just pulled out one for simplicity. So that is what the frame actually is. It's two aluminium staves or long ribs. And of course, as you can see, it's not symmetrical. So if you do pull it out, important to remember which direction you pulled it out from so you can put it back exactly the same way. Thank you for watching, guys. That's my long-term review of the giant Belgian Army pack. You can decide what you think, the pros and cons of buying surplus gear. Yes, you get a little bit of a financial, economic boost in the fact it's cheaper than a brand new piece of kit. But on the other hand, you don't really have a lot of comeback when it's worn out, it's not functioning perfectly. If you're a subscriber, thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not yet a subscriber, check out some more of my videos. If you like what you see, smash down that subscriber button, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Hi guys, Dave at thehumbletrekker channel. How you doing today? Hope you're doing great. Going to be making a long-term review of the giant Belgian backpack today, 100 litres plus. and through that going to be making some interesting observations about the second-hand fucking bells. The bells!